I just graduated from Davidson College in North Carolina on Sunday. Thanks. I got a degree in psychology, and I'm starting a job at July 1st at the Lieber Institute for Brain Development. So right now I'm just going to do this for 2 years and then hopefully get into graduate school. And then I want to get my PhD in clinical psychology.
First of all, the fact that you played NCAA Division I women's basketball is massively beneficial. And it's going to be one of the first things people see. It shows a corporation, an employer, the medical field, whatever, that you have the ability to focus to the minutia on a particular task. So in other words, you work out, you get your body in shape, you have, extreme workouts and whatnot on the one hand, and on the other hand, that you are a team player and that you're able to be coached and you're able to take direction and you're able to execute and you're able to execute at a high level. There aren't a lot of top level female sports available that women are coming out of and going into another field. A lot of women might come out of college and then continue in that field, whether it's soccer or basketball, or what they want to go into sports marketing, or they want to go into the news, anchoring or something like that. Way more college sports for men. And men who come out of that sports field and go into business, especially sales, it's very, very, very attractive. So if you were coming out of this field and wanting to get into sales, you would be able to get practically any sales job you wanted to. And that's because people in sales talk to other people, and a lot of the people they're talking to are men, and what do men talk about? They talk about sports.
Sports, yeah. No, that's what they were saying. Like, if you can golf, people want you to go be in business because you can take your clients golfing. So If you're like a girl who can golf, then that's like really good for that stuff. So like when I take my clients to play basketball, like...
You have a level of training and you have a level of commitment and you have a level of independence and drive that other people don't necessarily have. Because to be tops in sports, you put your body through a ringer. You're training X number of hours a day, and then you're practicing another so many hours a day, and then you've got a game, however many times a week. You're used to working long hours, and what do companies want? They want people who are going to work long hours. They want people who are committed. You're committed. They want people who think outside the box and can make split-second decisions that are going to affect something. And that's what you're able to do on the court every single time you're on the court. They want a team player. They want someone who's not going to be judgmental. It's so parallel, and it makes you so marketable in practically any field. Your resume is super important, and your resume is important as a calling card and as a teaser. It's a door opener. What you want to start any CV is with a career profile, and it's basically 2 or 3 sentences that say, what you bring to the table. And then it has a brief section on your education, honors, relevant coursework, any skills or qualifications you might bring to the table, and then finally your work experience. Your work experience, you want to touch on that as results. What was the need and what was the result? And you always want to keep that up to date. 2 pages for someone graduating from college is actually quite lengthy. Most college seniors have 1-page resume. You do have a lot of background and in research experience and whatnot, so I do think that your experience merits 2 pages. Because you want someone to read your resume and say, oh, I want to know how she got this result. Well, the challenge was this, the action was this, and this was the result. Your resume should be very results-oriented, and if that means you only have half the number of bullet points, or if you have 1 or 2 bullet points per category, that's great. Because no one's reading a 2-page resume. No one. People generally read the beginning and the end. You also never put your references on your resume. You make people ask you for your references. You'll get to a point in an interview situation or whatever, and they'll say, well, we'd like to check references. And then you would then call your references and choose references based on what that position is. And then you would provide those particular references in a separate document or a separate email. Really, as you go forward in your career, your network is your most important, is your most important asset. It's great to start that now. Keep a database. I'm sure you use Gmail or you use Outlook or you use something. You can keep a personal one. You can keep a professional one. I'm going to suggest that you keep a separate one, this professional network, because then you can access it. Any little tidbits that you can think of to write about a person, met them through, Joe and Laura at the such and such party, because as you meet them again and again, you want to just continue to update that database. The more people that you meet, I'm telling you, your mind will get cluttered and you just won't remember. You just won't. My feeling on social media is that, first of all, it's out there and you're going to use it. Be prudent. I mean, I'm going to tell you something that I would tell anyone. Never put in writing or publish a photo that you wouldn't want on the front page of the New York Times. At some point in your career, it may be on the front page of the New York Times. You could have to be the Surgeon General and they'd show pictures of you from, college, smoking a joint and, probably half naked hanging out a window. I mean, I don't know.
I don't post anything that I would think would be representing me in a bad way. Or like if people like tag me on something and I don't like it, I untag myself and I tell them to delete it. So I'm like very vigilant about that, I would say. But I don't think I would have anything that would not represent me as a person, because I mean, I am social. I like to go out, have a good time, but I do my work. And they know that. To me, if they hate that I'm social, then I shouldn't be working for them anyway, because that's like a huge part of me.
When your resume is buttoned up, take a lot of that information that was on your resume and just copy and paste it right into LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And it's going to be super important to keep that updated. And it's going to be really important for you when you meet people to link to them. That's all part of networking. And you'll find that, especially in your field, as you're going forward, like you meet, Dr. massively known, famous person.
Yeah.
And you link into him, you will then have access to all of his people. Yeah. And then say the doctor you met isn't necessarily in your field, but you had a fabulous conversation with him. So you would write him a note saying, in LinkedIn, "Dear Dr. So-and-so, I so enjoyed meeting you, blah, blah, blah," discussing A, B, and C, because you want him to remember who you are. I'd so appreciate, linking in with you. Yeah. And then you have access to his network. Now, in his network might be someone in a field that you are interested in working with. And Dr. So-and-so is super well respected in his field. So that would be very easy for you to then go to that person and either ask Dr. So-and-so for a personal introduction, which is preferable, or try to link into that person without checking with him. It's just another way of, amassing a network. And if you're good at it, you'll then be able to leverage that network to get you wherever you want to go. Always, always, always go to an interview prepared, and you know exactly who you're going to be speaking with, what their background is, which, by the way, you can find on LinkedIn normally.
Yeah.
And then you know about the company, you know what their challenges are. Knowing their challenges are really, really important. If you can't find out what their challenges are through research, you call the person you're going to be speaking with and say, "Hey, listen, we're meeting on such and such a date. It would be really helpful for me to make this meeting, worthwhile for both of us, if you could share with me what some of your challenges are right now." And then you can go to that meeting prepared to say, "Okay, I understand your challenge is this. I have experience doing this that's relevant to that challenge. Yeah. And here's how I solved the challenge that I had to deal with. And here's the result," which was, a good result. You want to make your meetings and your interviews always about the company. Yeah. You never want to make them about you.
Cherie was able to really revamp what I initially thought was my career search through my resume. It led me from one internship that led on to another internship and 2 other jobs. She really caters to your needs, your weaknesses, and then exemplifies your strengths. I used to rule the world, seas would rise when I gave the